Going back down to the El basement. Is that how you say it in Espanol?
Sí.
Cállate.
Our investigation rolled on as it was now about midnight. As a trio, we went to the basement again, concentrating on the spirit of a little girl that Matt told us an interesting story about.
But we had a problem a while back. This brick we used to put here in front of the door, and then we had it was like a pop can, a Diet Coke can or something, and I'd be working nights up in the office, and that pop can, I'd hear a pop can rolling around downstairs and feel a cold breeze upstairs. So I'd come down here and that damn brick would be moved and that pop can would be spinning around on the floor. This would probably, and I'd put it back and this would go on and on and on. So we had a lady at work, supposedly talks to ghosts. We asked her to come over, didn't tell her the scenario, what was going on. We just told her, go in there and see what you find. And supposedly she talked to some little girl about 10 or 12 years old, and she said she was the one playing with the pop can and moving the brick on us and all this, and she told the little girl everything was okay, you're dead and you need to move on. And ever since then we haven't had a problem with this brick. It stays right there and nothing gets moved now.
You couldn't help but get a continual creepy feeling in the basement, especially since its history includes it functioning as a hospital, crematorium, and an illegal abortion clinic at one point in its history. We ventured into one of the more fascinating parts of the building, the slave tunnel. Apparently, a group who previously investigated the building caught an EVP in the tunnel saying freedom. Unfortunately, at this time, we didn't catch anything while in the slave tunnel, and we also didn't catch any poltergeist activity after setting up a soda can on the cinder block.
Yeah, we did set up a IR camera over here. We pointed it to here all night. We set a soda can up there. Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that's too bad.
Yeah,
I haven't had any problems with that door since supposedly that little girl left.
Now getting deep into the night, we decided it was time to split up. Personally, I wasn't too apprehensive about this since my own experiences were minimal up to this point. Splitting up made the most sense. 3 levels, 3 people. We started with me upstairs, Yeti on the main floor, and App in the basement. At this particular time, I didn't know all the activity we had captured was happening where I'd be. I started by sitting in the hallway chair. Toward the beginning of my solo session, I turned the camera to my face as I explained what was going on up to this point.
It's a little different by yourself than it is with the other guys. Can still hear them a little bit throughout the place. There's an echo a little bit.
Unbeknownst to me, the ill timing of turning my night vision camera around prevented me from securing a solid piece of evidence. But luckily, our IR hallway camera picked up the slack by capturing a solid orb. As that was going on with my soliloquy, the camera picked up this awesome piece of evidence coming through the doorway.
It's a little different by yourself than it is with.
There are 2 ways to best distinguish this orb from dust. First and most important, look where it comes from. You can see it start from inside the office area. From there, it curves around to the threshold of the door and across the camera toward Matt's office, almost as if it's taking a stroll. Second, a distinctive glow emits from the orb. These 2 facts make it a solid piece of evidence. It didn't stop there. I made my way into the office area a bit later. This time there wasn't an orb or EVP, but light play that was picked up. And guess where it was? Yup, the same chair we caught an orb earlier in the night. This was now officially the hotspot of the evening. I only spent 5 minutes in the offices, but twice the IR camera captured fluctuation in the light. Seems as though something was sitting in the hallway chair keeping me company. We debunked this as my flashlight reflection. As you can clearly see, when I point my light, it doesn't affect that spot on the seat at all. Meanwhile, during my time upstairs on the main floor, Yeti has one of the only personal experiences any of us had all night. Listen closely as he hears 2 knocks in which he acknowledges.
What year did you die? Double knock.
What's interesting is the knocks come from a storage room door that hasn't been opened or closed all night. Whether it's paranormal or not is very unclear. However, it's one of those experiences that's hard to let go.
I was sitting over there getting butt warm, and at that door was just 2 knocks.
At that door there?
Yeah.
That door. And that was and knowing from standing outside, like
Yeah.
knowing that's just it's all closed off and
Yeah.
just a storage.
There's nothing in there, yeah.
Yeah, that made me
And that
happy.
goes, that's
Our second split up session proved once again that upstairs was a place to be. This time the culprit was App. Not only did we catch visual evidence, but also audio during the approximately 10 minutes he spent upstairs, confirming he wasn't alone. App sat in the very spot the IR camera picked up an orb earlier in the night, and where there was light play just a few minutes ago. This time, shortly into his EVP session, a similar bright orb comes from inside the offices. You can see dust floating by the IR camera, but it's not until you see the glowing and pulsating orb coming from the office doorway you can tell the distinction. It's eerily similar to the orb seen when I was sitting in the hallway. Also, take a look at App. You can tell he sees something and follows it. Lastly, right after the orb disappears out of frame, there's a sound captured from Nick's audio.
What you were unable to say when you were living?
This was just the start of several occurrences that happened during Nick's short time upstairs. About 2 minutes later, Nick's audio recorder captures a long, distinct breath. The only video we had was from the hallway IR camera, and it's difficult to see if it was Nick breathing. But from his nonverbal cues, along with the fact that the breath seems like it comes from right up against the microphone, and it's the only time in the 10 minutes this was heard, it makes it relevant and interesting. Eventually, App heads into the office area where he doesn't know the orb was just captured.
Feel free to follow me on in.
After making this claim, he asks if anyone is with him to let him know somehow. Just a while later, it's now clear Nick has
The
a
one in the far
stalker.
other room and in the hallway can visually see you. Can you do something to let me know that you're here?
And not even 30 seconds later, watching the furthest away office area through the doorway, an orb appears and disappears. Not only that, but it's very similar to the orb picked up just 2 minutes ago, and the first time we captured on camera earlier in the night. The final piece of evidence happens just at the end of App's 10-minute EVP session, and we were actually relieved when we heard this response to his
Do you like
question.
the people that I'm with? Do you like the people that I'm with? Sick. Dude, I don't want to be filmed right now. I can get my TVs out of myself here. Why do I do that?
Do what?
Like, literally, the only
Do you look?
time I look up over the shoulder, and then you hear the sound,
Yeah.
and then I look kind of down at the ground where the sound came from.
Yeah.
Because the crazy thing is, like, right now you can see it, but, like, at this time I'm sitting there pitch black, you know? If you're interested in communicating, if you come over by me, or sit in the other rooms, that's fine.
Oh, here it comes. I memorized it by now.
Mostly just interested in hearing what you have to say.
Right here.
Why you're here.
There you go. You
What you
looked.
were unable to say when you were
And it clicked.
I know, the click
Did
is
you
weird.
hear that click or no?
I don't remember hearing it. Honestly, like I did not remember, but there was a lot of times where like you hear a creak of a board or something and you're kind of like, I don't know what that was, but you can't see it, so.
Here's a quick review of what Nick caught in the 10 minutes he was upstairs by himself. The orb coming from the office door that also makes a sound. The breathy voice that seems to be right up against the microphone. Arguably the same orb now in the office area with Nick. And the breathy voice saying,
Do you like the
yeah.
people that I'm with?
App wraps up his session not knowing what he's just caught. Throughout the rest of our solo walkthroughs, nothing of significance happened, so one more time, we gathered back together as a trio and mapped out a final plan of action for the night.
Into the boardroom area.
At this point, although the post-investigation review revealed some dynamic evidence, we had very little personal experiences to speak of, and generally speaking, didn't know if the Union Hall was truly haunted. But if the evidence we captured so far wasn't revealing enough, what we would see and hear later on solidified the Union Hall as officially inhabited by spirits.